It's time now for perspective. The extraordinary 12th century temple complex at Angkor Wat in Cambodia is considered the largest religious structure anywhere in the world, drawing in well over 2 million tourists every year. But a new Amnesty report warns that the Cambodian government, keen to capitalise on the popularity of the UNESCO World Heritage Site, are forcing thousands of people from their homes under the guise of a voluntary relocation programme. My guest today is Montse Ferrer, who's the Deputy Regional Director of Research for East and Southeast Asia and the Pacific at Amnesty International. Thank you so much for speaking to us on France 24 today.
Thank you for having us.
Now, you're in Paris for the launch of this report today on the forced displacement of people in the Angkor Wat complex. Could you please start by giving us a brief overview of the findings?
Absolutely. So what Amnesty International documented in an investigation that started earlier this year in March and until recently was that the Cambodian government was technically voluntarily relocating individuals, but actually that amounted to forced evictions, mass forced evictions in violation of international human rights law. In particular, we found that people are being asked to move without being provided basic procedural rights, like being consulted, providing them with written notice prior to being forced to leave. Most of the people we spoke to over 100 people, were told to us that they were being forced to move without them wanting to move. And all of these people are being moved to one resettlement site in particular, Ek, that is unfit for purpose. All of this is extremely important because it's happening at a World Heritage Site. And the government has, specifically the then Prime Minister Hun Sen, has used conservation and UNESCO as an excuse for these forced violations.
So you call it mass expulsions. Just how big are we talking?
We're talking about around 10,000 families. That's the reported number by the government, and it matches very much the findings that we have documented.
And you say that people aren't given sufficient warning, that they're essentially expelled. What do those expulsions look like?
Absolutely. I have one example of someone that we interviewed. It's a woman who was into her 70s, had lived her entire life in her home. Her family, back generations, had lived in that same home. She had family right there, and as a cemetery in the garden, and her farmland, her buffaloes, and she was asked to leave just 2 weeks' notice and was forced to leave her community, leave her lands, leave her family, and move to a barren plot of land where she had to build her own house.
So tell me more about this site to which people are being displaced. You say people often move to empty plots of land. What does that actually look like when somebody arrives to find what's meant to be their new home and there's in fact nothing there?
So people arrive with a truck or with transport with their goods, but they arrive literally at a barren plot of land. It's a small piece of land, there's nothing on it, and people are being asked to construct their own homes. The government has provided minor compensation, some money and some construction materials, but then they are meant to build their own house. So between the moment of arrival and the moment that some form of home is built, they're living under the stars, basically, with very little support of the government. We have also seen examples where there's no water system, no electricity. Things are changing, of course, and developing as we speak, but many people were forced to move and have nothing to live on.
And you mentioned compensation packages. Are they in any way adequate in terms of the amount of money that people are receiving?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's a very small amount of money, some food, and then corrugated steel for them to build their own home. What kind of home is that? We were there actually several times, 9 different times, specifically during the rainy season as well, and we saw homes in front of our eyes get destroyed by the rain because these are quite flimsy homes, not very sturdy homes.
So what then is the justification that the Cambodian government is giving for these evictions?
The Cambodian government has been referencing UNESCO. This site, as you've well said, is a World Heritage Site, and they have kept saying that UNESCO is putting pressure on the government for these relocations to take place, which we are referring to as forced evictions. So yeah, that's what they've been using.
So what then is UNESCO saying? I assume you've put these claims to UNESCO.
Absolutely. Yes, and it's a key question. UNESCO has played a historical, really important role in Angkor. They were around at the time, obviously, of the inscription. They played a very active role compared to other countries, other sites. And to date, they continue to fund part of the conservation. They're a member of the ICC Angkor, which is a coordinating body, and they obviously play a bigger role in the wider context of conservation. So we have been asking UNESCO to take a stronger stance. Until today, they have not. There's been inaction from our perspective. We have asked them to independently assess the forced evictions, to publicly condemn them, and we hope that they will take decisive action.
And have you also put these allegations to the Cambodian government?
Absolutely, we have. We have been communicating with them. Unfortunately, they have not in any way substantively engaged with any of our allegations. The only thing they did was offer a meeting in person, which we couldn't attend at that specific time. We offered an online call, and they rejected our offer. So we have not, unfortunately, received any response from them that really gets to the core of the issue here.
And it's true, isn't it, that in order to retain your status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, you do need to meet certain criteria. Is that something the Cambodian government is using to explain what's happening?
They haven't been as specific as looking at specific criteria of the UNESCO or the convention. So in that sense, no. But yes, indirectly, absolutely. They keep saying we may lose World Heritage status if people don't leave. And it's important to note, I mean, just to give you an example, people were told, if you don't leave, we will flood your home, we may arrest you, UNESCO is going to take our World Heritage status away. And it's important to remember that this site is extremely important for the Cambodian people.
Montse Ferrer, a Deputy Regional Director of Research for East and Southeast Asia and the Pacific region at Amnesty International. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us today.
Thank you for